Today on Wolfpack Weekdays, we're going to be talking about UFC 200. Welcome back to Wolfpack Weekdays. Like I said, today we're going to be talking about UFC 200, and basically this is going to be a short version of the reaction because there's really only 4 things that I want to talk about, and that's basically because there was only 4 matches that were worth talking about. So before I start anything, I want to just hit on the Jon Jones thing. If you don't know what happened, it was supposed to be Daniel Cormier versus Jon Jones, the interim champion versus the current light heavyweight champion, and the interim champion who never lost his title had it stripped from him, and that was supposed to be the main event of UFC 200, the biggest card they've ever had, and he tested positive for something. Not sure if it was a steroid or an actual drug or what it was. They haven't really said, but he was out. He was out of the card, and that basically put the whole thing in shambles 2 days before it. There's a video that I'll put up right here of Daniel Cormier finding out, and man, I feel bad for the guy. He was so ready to fight him. He was probably had the best camp of his life, and he was really disappointed, and it's very visible. So that's just all I really want to say. It's shitty that it happened, but I'm not exactly surprised. I feel like the pressure might have got to Jon Jones, and he took a little bit of help, or it could have been a false positive. Who knows? The test hasn't been confirmed or denied or anything like that, so we'll see what happens in the next coming months, and we'll see what ends up with him, because he could be banned for 2 years. It could be the end of his career. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, I'm going to talk about the main 4 matches, and that includes one of the ones that has Daniel Cormier in it, but I'm going to do them in order of succession, as in what they have, like how they happened in the show. So we're going to start with my favorite match of the night, Jose Aldo versus Frankie Edgar. Okay, so Jose Aldo was a dominant featherweight champion until a little man named Conor McGregor showed up and knocked him out in 13 seconds. And these two guys hate each other. So basically what happened here is that because Conor McGregor is going up to different weights and fighting, the Frankie Edgar Jose Aldo for the interim title was happening, and whoever won that faces McGregor for the unification when he comes back down after 202. And well, Jose Aldo came out, and he looked like the Jose Aldo from before Conor McGregor existed. He looked like the dominant champion that we all remember, that was destroying everybody, that did the double knee head destruction of Cub Swanson in the WEC, like, and that was the stupidest way to say it. It was a double flying knee. It was beautiful. But he looked like that, and he absolutely destroyed, I mean demolished, picked apart Frankie Edgar. Frankie Edgar is a great champion. He was the person who took down BJ Penn. He held the title afterwards. He had some good wars with Gray Maynard. He is a great fighter. But Jose Aldo was better, and he absolutely destroyed Frankie Edgar. And that's basically all you need to know, besides the fact that it's going to lead to one of the greatest pay-per-views to come out of the UFC in a long time. Because what happened right after the match is Jose Aldo went right to the fence where Conor McGregor was standing, and they were just jabbing at each other already. And that makes me excited for the fight, because Conor McGregor is a beast, and so is Jose Aldo. If Jose Aldo comes out and doesn't get immediately knocked out again, then it's going to be a fucking hellacious war. And I'm cussing a lot this one, but it's UFC, so if you're watching this, you probably should be able to hear cussing. But yeah, that's basically all I need to say about Jose Aldo, Frankie Edgar. It's going to be a war between McGregor and Aldo next time. It's going to be awesome. Okay, so the next fight. So the next fight was what was supposed to be the main event. Daniel Cormier was just, you know, he even said, I'll sign a waiver for Jon Jones to fight, which isn't allowed by the USDA. Or USDAA? It's something like that. It's the health people. And so he still wanted to fight on 200. Obviously, it's a huge paycheck, so who wouldn't? And what happened was Anderson the Spider Silva, and I don't care if you disagree, the greatest of all time, at least one of the greatest martial artists of all time, one of the greatest fighters of all time, stepped in on 2 days' notice to fight him because Anderson Silva was just going to the Fan Expo, the International Fight Week, to sign autographs, and they're like, oh god, we need a fight. So he called Dana and was like, I'll fight him. So that's basically what happened. Anderson Silva taking it on 2 days' notice, not amazing. Daniel Cormier did a lot of kind of laying on him and just ground and pounding. It wasn't a very exciting fight. It actually got a lot of boos from the crowd. Not a very exciting fight, but you got to give a hand to Anderson Silva. I mean, to come in on 2 days' notice on a weight class that's higher than your regular weight class, even though he's dominated at light heavyweight, but that was in a different era, basically. And to face the champion, you know, to still give him that fight, still give him a big name, you know, opponent and stuff. Very good on him, and he still looked great. He did a really good job even on 2 days' notice. So it makes me wonder what a full camp of his at a light heavyweight would be. I think they should give him a title shot if Jon Jones doesn't get the situation worked out and he's able to fight. That'd be an interesting card. Okay, so that's basically it for that one. I mean, they had him on Anderson Silva on his shoulders. There was a lot of respect shown. It was pretty awesome. The ending was pretty cool. The fight was pretty boring. But next is the surprise announcement from 199, which was that Brock Lesnar, freaking let's be Paul Heyman for a second. Brock Lesnar! Yeah, Suplex City, bitch. That guy. The guy who's still contracted with the WWE came back for this pay-per-view and fought Mark Hunt, the Super Samoan, one knockout, walk away power, just beast. And it was a great fight. It was a great fight. Brock Lesnar came in and he definitely looked as good as he did before. He kind of did a lot of laying with his wrestling. He kind of just laid on him, didn't do much ground and pound, which was surprising because one of his biggest tools, especially against somebody like Frank Mir, was he just ground and pounded him to death. So I was kind of surprised by that, but it was an entertaining fight. It was still a lot of fun to watch. You know, there was a lot of cross promotion between WWE and UFC, which I thought was kind of funny because basically what happened was Brock Lesnar asked Vince McMahon to let him go fight this one time. So I don't know what's going to happen with Brock now with the UFC and WWE because he's supposed to be on SummerSlam for WWE. I don't know what's going to happen. It's an interesting thing. It might actually work in a good way, but we'll see what happens. So that a decent fight, worth watching, but you know, just kind of for the spectacle to see what Brock Lesnar's able to do. He definitely played it safe, though, so we'll see what he does if he comes back and fights again. Which was Miesha Tate versus Amanda Nunes. Amanda Nunes is a monster. Oh my god. Miesha Tate is no joke. Miesha Tate has some freaking talent, and the only reason she isn't even, like, at that star power is because Ronda Rousey had the title for so long, and she had Miesha Tate's number. Miesha Tate got in there against Holly Holm, grinded out a beastly victory with that 5th round rear naked choke when she was losing the fight, became the champion and deserved it. She worked hard to get there, but Amanda Nunes came out in the first round and hit Miesha hard with some combinations and broke Miesha Tate's nose. It was an absolute slaughter. It got to the point that literally Miesha Tate had taken so many hits, she was basically out on her feet. And then Amanda took her to the ground and just choked her out for the championship. So that means that the women's bantamweight title has switched hands every single time except when Ronda Rousey had it. I think that means that we need a Ronda Rousey versus Holly Holm rematch. Whoever wins that goes to fight the champion. I don't know who they're going to put in front of Amanda Nunes, but she is no joke. She is no joke. People had her as the underdog, and I was kind of looking at that like, I've seen her fight. She's a beast. She's very, very, very brutal. So that fight is really exciting, really fun to watch, and good on Miesha Tate for staying in there. She took a beating and still stood up and fought. So good on her. But Amanda Nunes was just too much. And it definitely leads into a very exciting women's bantamweight division for the next couple months. So I'm excited to see what happens with that, what the next opponent is, what the next storyline will be, who it is, if it's Ronda coming back or whatever. So that's going to be exciting, and it's going to be worth watching. So overall, UFC 200 was great. The lack of Jon Jones, Daniel Cormier, that drama kind of overshadowed it, which sucks because it was supposed to be the best card ever. And what's kind of sad is the two fights before it. The one on Thursday at Fight Night between Alvarez and Dos Anjos, with Alvarez winning with the TKO, and then Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Claudia Gadelha, and the Ultimate Fighter finale for the women's strawweight. Those were honestly better fights than pretty much all of them except Jose Aldo, Frankie Edgar, in my opinion. So this whole fight week is worth a watch if you guys can get it. The fight night should be available on Fox, I believe, because it was on FS1. So should the Ultimate Fighter finale. There should be highlights at least. And eventually 200 will be available for Fight Pass users like myself. So definitely worth a watch when you get the chance. And overall, it was a great time. It always is with UFC. I love the sport. I love watching it. And I'm looking forward to 201 between Ruthless Robbie Lawler and Tyron Woods. I can never say his name right. You know what I'm talking about. He's been vying for this title shot forever. He deserves it, and he's finally getting it. I'm excited for it. So it's going to be awesome. And then 202 is Nate Diaz McGregor 2. So that's going to be freaking amazing. So, yeah. I'm excited for UFC in the upcoming months. Hope you guys are too. Let me know in the comments what you thought about UFC 200 if you watched it. And, yeah, that's all I have for you today. So with that being said, thank you for watching. Subscribe for more. If you have any suggestions for the show, use the hashtag WPW down in the comments or on Twitter, and your idea might just get featured on the show. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.